If you have an extra $500 and you want to make more money, you don't want to just take that money and put it into the stock market. And in this video, I'm going to show you 5 things that you can do instead. When you have extra money, there are 3 general things that you can do. That way you can earn more money with that money. Number 1 is you can save that money, but you might get a 1% interest on your savings. So if you save $500, that's $5 over the course of 1 year. Not life-changing money. If you go and invest this money in the stock market or somewhere else into one of these other passive investments where now you're not actively working to grow the money, you put your money into stocks or real estate or something like that, now you're trying to get a 7 to 10% return on your money. In this case, maybe that means you get $50 over the course of a year. That's less than $5 a month. Again, not life-changing money. If you have $500 and you want to earn more money, then you should be looking at investing this money into yourself. Investing this money actively, because now you are working to grow the money. You're not just putting your money somewhere else to grow that money. You are putting your time and effort to turn that $500 into $5,000, $50,000, $500,000, maybe even $5 million. But this requires you now to put this money to work for you. So how do you go by doing this? Well, this is where you have 5 different options. And option number 1 is, if you have a business idea already, take your money and invest it into your own business idea. One of the strangest questions that I get asked is, Jaspreet, what business should I start? And I don't know. What business should you start? What are you interested in? Where do you see a problem in the world, and where can you fix this problem? A business is all about finding some sort of pain, a problem, something where you can provide a solution. If you have already a business idea, go out and work on that. If you don't have a business idea on something that can make you money, something that's scalable, then we move on to number 2, which is now where you learn. I used to hate reading, and I thought that the reason why I hated reading was because I hated looking at words and actually reading the words. And then as soon as I started reading business books and investing books and entrepreneurship books, then for the first time I read a book cover to cover, and then for the first time I actually started liking reading. If you don't have a business idea, then I want you to start reading as many business books as possible. That way you can start inspiring yourself and putting yourself into that type of environment. You are a product of environment. If everybody else around you is talking about the game, they're talking about Netflix, they're talking about going out and partying, you're not going to be in an environment that's thinking about good business ideas and how to make more money. But if now you put yourself into an environment where you keep hearing about entrepreneurship success and how to scale a business and business ideas, well, now all of a sudden your mind is going to work very differently. Now, if you don't have friends that are always talking about business ideas and entrepreneurship and financial success, then how do you do it? We'll start by reading books. That was how I first got my exposure to a completely different environment than what I was around. And if you start reading books, now you can submerge yourself into the brain of somebody who has achieved that success, and you can see how they did it. Over the next 12 months, and you can do this in less than 12 months, but I'm going to give you 12 months to do this, I want you to read at least 20 books. If you have $500, you can buy at least 20 books, but start with 20 books. And I want you to read 5 books on money management and investing. I want you to read 5 books on starting a business and entrepreneurship. I want you to read 5 books on entrepreneur biographies. These are stories of entrepreneurs who went out and became very successful. And then I want you to read 5 books on personal development. When you go and do this, you are going to immerse yourself into this whole world of entrepreneurship, money management, financial education, and success, and you're going to see the stories of people who actually did it. Now you might be asking, but Jaspreet, what book should I read? Well, I'm going to give you a little bit of discretion here. Go onto Amazon, go onto Audible, and go and find some of the top-rated books. These have to be actual popular books, books that have at least 4.5 stars, books that were rated very highly and got good reviews. Now, before we move on to number 3, I want to take a little bit of a diversion here, and I want to just make sure that you have built a financial base for yourself, because when I talk about now taking an extra $500 and investing this money in yourself, because putting this money into the stock market might get you a 7 to 10% return on your money, but when you invest this money in yourself, now you can get a much bigger return on your money. I should also mention that if you have high interest debts, like a bunch of credit card debt, if you don't have any sort of savings, like a savings cushion to protect you against an emergency, this is also extremely important, because your credit card debt is costing you 15 to 25% a year, and this is skinning you alive financially. So you want to definitely make sure that you take care of that credit card debt. And if you don't have any savings, you want to build some savings cushion to protect you against a financial emergency, because if your AC stops working, your car stops working, you don't have a job anymore, something happens, you want to make sure you have some cash to fall back on. That way you can continue living your life without having to go into debt. So Make sure, as we're talking about now how do you grow your money, that you've also built this sort of financial base. Now, as you start reading these books and you change your environment that you're in just by absorbing different types of content, this brings me to number 3, which is now invest in the new ideas that you have. If you want to make money with your business idea, you need 2 things. You need to have a product that you can sell, and you need customers to give you money. Now, the mistake that so many people make is to spend all their money, time, and effort trying to perfect the perfect product, instead of trying to get customers, when what you really want to be doing is putting your time into getting more customers who will tell you how to improve your product. Because you can have the best product in the world, but if nobody knows about it, you're not going to make any money. If you have people that want your product, well, even if you have a crappy product, you're still going to make money. And then your customers will tell you how to make your crappy product into a better product. So what does this mean? Well, you need to have some sort of product. You need to have something to sell. You need to have some way to make money. Is this a product? Is this a service? Is this something else where now you can make money? And you really don't have to actually sell a product directly to your customers. Like in my Briefs Media newsletter, we have newsletters for free for investors called Market Briefs. Well, how do we make money if our newsletters are completely free? Well, we don't sell to our readers. We sell to our advertisers and sponsors. We have a business development team that works to secure advertisements and sponsorships inside of our newsletters. So now people who are investors or entrepreneurs get to read our newsletters for free. We have our advertisers paying us money. That way our newsletters can be free for our readers. So now if you have a product that you want to put out and make some money on, how do you actually get people to give you money? How do you get customers? Well, now you can start investing this money into either paid or organic advertising. Organic means now you are going to get customers from your content. You're going to get customers to come in for free, essentially, but it's not always free. But you're going to get customers to come in through the natural internet waves, not through advertisements. They're going to find you either on social media, a blog, a YouTube channel, a podcast. They find you on the internet, they go to your website, they see your product, and then they give you money. Paid means now you're going to be running advertisements. Maybe this is putting up billboards. Maybe this is doing Facebook ads. Maybe this is doing TikTok ads. Maybe this is commercials on the radio, commercials on TV. You're spending money for people to see your product. Now, the reason why I say that this type of organic content isn't always free is because you can spend a lot of money creating content. You can spend a lot of money making videos. You can spend a lot of money writing articles. You can spend a lot of money creating podcasts to build that content, to build an audience that you can ultimately market your products to. Now, I love marketing. I'm a marketing person. I think that's very interesting. And this is where just look at what's happening with the Super Bowl. All these customers, all these businesses are trying to get your attention in this 30-second advertisement. That way you will then want to go onto their website or buy their product. They're always trying to do something different. They're trying to grasp your attention. They're trying to do something crazy. That way you notice them. That's what this whole game is about. How can you get your brand noticed by customers? If you can create some sort of messaging that people can resonate with, that they share on their social medias, that they share with their friends, that they share with their families, well, now you're going to be able to get more customers at a much lower price because people are sharing your product for you. That's the best type of advertising. It's word of mouth advertising where people are talking about your product for you. If you can't do that, well, then maybe you have to buy that exposure through more paid advertising. Again, this is a whole beast of its own. Is running Facebook ads or Instagram ads or TikTok ads or whatever type of advertisements you want to run, YouTube advertisements, that way you can get people to see your product. Now, to put this in perspective, I didn't spend a penny on paid advertising in my Briefs Media newsletter until we had hundreds of thousands of readers on the Market Briefs newsletter. Once we had hundreds of thousands of readers and then we wanted to scale it more, that's when I started spending money here on the paid side. But we were able to grow to the size that we were organically, because then we were able to promote it here on YouTube. I went on podcasts. I was able to talk about it there. So I was able to talk about my product on multiple different places, and this wasn't where now I had to pay to get exposure. I had to work to build this content. I had to spend hours of my time building this channel. I had to spend a lot of my life building this brand. But then when I had that, now I can then promote my company, which is Briefs Media. Then I was able to market my product, build a decent customer base over there. And then once we were able to do that and establish that, that's when I started investing here on the paid side. There's no right or wrong way on how to do this. The key here is just understanding that you need customers and you need a product that you can market your customers to. And I would spend more time building this than this because you can always refine the product as you get more customers, because as you get more customers, well, your customers will tell you how to improve your product. Our newsletters have improved a lot in the last 12 months, and they've improved even more since we first started sending out newsletters. We see what our customers like, and then we're able to refine the product. Now, if you are an entrepreneur and you want to stay up to date on the latest business trends and you want to join Business Briefs, it's completely free. And I'll put the link to how you can join Business Briefs for entrepreneurs down in the description below. It's a super easy way for you to stay up to date on what's happening in the latest business world with trends and innovation and funding. Fourth, if you keep doing this, you're working to build more customers, you work to sell your product, now you're going to start making a little bit of money. And this is where you're going to run into a crossroads. What do you do with this money that you're making? This cash that you have in your bank account, what do you do with it? Do you take it and go and buy a nice new apartment? Do you take it and go and buy a nice car? Or are you going to reinvest this money back into the company? And if you reinvest this money back into the company, how do you actually do that to get the best return? See, the first mistake that so many people make in this place is they want to go now show off their new success with a new BMW. They want to go on nice vacations and they want to start spending all this money right away. But if you start doing that, you're sucking the blood out of your business because now you're taking the cash out of your business that could have been used to grow the business. There's a time and place to do that, but in the early stages, you got to keep the money in the business and reinvest it. This is where then so many people make the next level mistake is they invest this money into the wrong places. Now they start spending all their money in to get a fancy office. They want to get fancy furniture. They want to look like they made it in their office. You're reinvesting the money back into the company with a nice new office, a great location, a nice secretary. You have the nice flooring. You have the nice branding. You're spending money on all these random things, but they don't actually produce a real ROI, a return on investment for your company, because now you're just making it look like your company made it. But if you really want to now see the next level of success, instead of spending all that money on the fancy stuff, first spend the money back into the company on something that will make you more money directly. This could be things like buying softwares to make your work more efficient. This could be hiring people to start new divisions. And this could be things like investing in more products to increase how much money you make. Now it's a risk because you could take this money and put it into a new product or a new person and then you don't see any success with it. But the whole idea is now you're putting your money to work. That way hopefully you can grow your money as well, grow how much revenue your business is making, grow how much profit you're making. That way soon later on, once you start making more money, well now you're going to be able to actually enjoy the value of the business and enjoy the profits of the business because you're taking that money and you're reinvesting it. You're not putting it in the stock market where you're going to get a 7% return. You can do that once you start building enough income to start doing that, but right now you're taking a risk and you're putting all this money back into yourself. One book, Sam Walton's book, Made in America, he talks about how when he was building Walmart, he wasn't investing in real estate, he wasn't investing in stocks. All he was doing was investing back into the Walmart Corporation, and his wealth was only tied into his company because he was so devoted to building his brand. And then number 5 is manage your risk and understand that sometimes you will lose money. I've talked about this too much money disease before, where if you have too much money when you start something, you might be very bad with that money and throw your money into inefficient ways. And even I have made that mistake myself. When I was trying to work on a lot of my different companies, I was also working to build the Minority Mindset blog. And during that time, I didn't have the time to go now and build a strategy for the blog and manage the blog and monitor the blog. So I hired the right people and I hired a consultant to manage the entire process. This was a very expensive consultant. We had a lot of people running the blog. We had a lot of staff writing articles for the blog. And over the course of I don't know how many years, we spent probably $500,000 now building and creating this blog, hoping that it will be a great revenue producing blog. Well, it wasn't. That money went to waste and it was a complete just failure. So we shut the blog down. The $500,000 that we dumped into it went away. And now we were left with nothing. A big learning lesson for me that sometimes more money can't just fix the problem. If you want to be able to succeed, 1, you got to be able to take risks, but 2, you also have to put in the attention that the product needs. If you have more money and you start to make more money and you start to reinvest it back into you and your brand, you have to remember what it is that got you where you were in the first place. And then as you take future risks, understand that sometimes you will lose. Sometimes you will make bad bets. Sometimes you will make bad investments. But remembering what got you to where you were, that way you can focus on the right strategies and the right processes and the right systems that will allow you to grow and scale. But this requires you to take the money that you're making and being willing to put it back into the business, to make that sacrifice a little bit longer, where now you're not going to take this money and go out and buy the new car just yet. You will be able to do that. The goal is to be able to do that comfortably without having to worry about the price, but it's willing to make that sacrifice where now you're willing to make that risk and invest it back into the company. Because unfortunately, with social media entrepreneurship, everybody looks like when you start making a little bit of money, you gotta start driving a Lamborghini. But if you really wanna build real wealth and real success, what you should be doing with the money you make is not going out and buying a fancy car, but taking that money and putting it back into the business. That way now you can build the real wealth that you're creating. If you have a product or service that makes you $10 per sale, you would have to sell 1,000 of these a month. If you make $100 per sale, you're gonna have to sell 100 of these a month. And if you can make $1,000 from each product sale or service sale that you make, you would have to sell 10 of these a month.